What's up, guys? I'm up here in Cape Cod. Sorry, I'm up here on Cape Cod at the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy Shark Center. And I'm gonna give you an incredible tour because this place has everything I love about great white sharks. Research, conservation, cinema science, all in one place. Let's go. You didn't think I was gonna be running, did you? Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. My name's Madeline. I'm the Shark Center manager here, so I'll be showing you around the Shark Center today.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. Hello. Check it out, guys. The Shark Center, Atlantic White Shark Conservancy. This is the sharkiest place on the Cape. I'm learning to say on the Cape instead of in Cape Cod. So what do we got here?
So here at the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy, otherwise known as AWSC, so we work to support research efforts of white sharks, as well as use our findings to better improve public safety and increase education initiatives. So our Shark Center space is a part of that education pillar.
Look at this place, man. There's sharks everywhere. This is like a dream come true. So what do we got here? What do we got?
So white sharks have historically been around off the Cape Cod coastline for a very long time. However, in the early 1900s, there was a very negative view of them, as well as their common food source out here, the seals. Later, as protections started being put into place to help their populations rebound, we started seeing these animals more and more often. And that's kind of where research came into play, is once we saw them more often, we want to learn more about them and how best to coexist with them.
And I'm sure the public, the people that live here kind of started to get, you know, maybe not too concerned, but wanting to learn more and maybe how to stay safe around these animals because they can, you know, they can look pretty scary.
Over this way, we have a quick snapshot of the early days of research. So this is a little history snapshot. The early days of white shark research was more based off of deceased animals. So this was a shark named Bruno, who was caught by a sport fisherman. While it was a shame that he was caught, it was one of the earliest studies that was done on these animals. So they did what's called a necropsy at the time, which you can see a great,
Oh.
smooth, Maddie. I great. Cut that out.
That'll be part of the blooper reel.
I am
Don't
the
worry.
clumsiest person.
Don't worry.
We have an awesome little photo here. You can see what was found in Bruno's necropsy.
So this is a real shot of Bruno right here. So you guys essentially took a trophy hunting situation, which isn't exactly great for sharks, and turned it into a research opportunity, learning more about an animal that many people had no idea what it was all about, other than, you know, Jaws.
Yes.
Wow. And this looks like the rod that was,
Yeah.
I want to touch it, but I know you're not supposed to touch a lot of the stuff in here.
So in order to study these animals, we first have to find them, right? And the way we do that is with planes just like this. Obviously, not the scale.
Yeah.
So we work with spotter pilots to fly above our coastline here to look for sharks. It's a lot easier to see these animals from that point of view because their dark topside of their body contrasts really well against the white sandy bottoms of our shoreline. Once a spotter pilot spots a shark, they'll radio down to our research team on our research boat, so that our team is then able to get closer to the animals to maybe get photos for photo identification or attach a tag.
And what about drones? I mean, obviously having a plane is great, but it's expensive. You need a pilot, you need the fuel. Are they using drone for research here as well?
So we also do use drones for select projects as well. We also have a snapshot of some of the clips that we've gotten from the drones on this screen here. We also have some awesome little drone remotes. These are real, so our people get to kind of pretend that they're the ones flying it.
Wait, did that say Nantucket?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So this isn't a clip of a white shark. This is a clip of dusky sharks. Our team actually got the first footage of dusky sharks pursuing and killing a gray seal pup.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a predation event.
Yes.
Incredible.
So in the past, people believed that it was only white sharks feeding on seals in this area, but we have found that other shark species, like dusky sharks.
You have video evidence. You got cinema science. As a filmmaker, as a cinematographer, I love video data because it's one thing to say a shark did something or to have a theory about what it did based on tag data or its movements. But when you see it with your own eyes in high definition on a drone or an underwater camera, there's no refuting that it happened. It's concrete evidence. I love that.
Yeah.
And speaking about concrete evidence, I see that you have some really cool pictures and ID stuff going on over here.
Yeah.
You gotta tell me about this.
Yeah, so just like how you and I look different from one another, each individual white shark looks different. And so we actually log that. Here at the Conservancy, we manage the white shark logbook on our website, where it logs the over 750 white shark individuals we've identified.
Over 750.
Yep. Yeah. Here is some of the comparison photos of what our research team will look at the shark's body. So some may have different patterns. They may have old deformities or injuries, and all of these can be unique to each individual.
Right, like this one's missing the top of its upper caudal lobe here, dorsal fin's all jagged, but they can really ID all these sharks from the scar markings, the trailing edge of the dorsal. This is awesome. This is like Facebook, but for sharks, like Shark Book, right? Anyway, this is super cool. 750 great white sharks here in Cape Cod. Like my first great white shark I've ever saw was in South Africa. Oh, wow. And they ID'd over 1,000 there over the decades of research, and now a lot of them have disappeared. But the new crazy hotspot is obviously up here in New England. This is amazing.
Yeah, we have also a lot of fun named sharks out there.
Gronk, I saw
yep.
Iceland.
Marianne.
What is your favorite shark out of all the sharks?
So my personal favorite is Dobby. If you're a Harry Potter fan,
Dobby?
Yeah, Dobby the house
little,
elf.
Like,
Yeah, the
crazy
little house elf. You can actually see, I believe it's on his caudal fin, is where it's like a pattern between the two colors of the body. It looks like the ears of Dobby.
Way. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I have a dog that looks like Dobby.
Aww.
Like a little mini pincher chihuahua, and it's got giant ears and same color as Dobby.
I love that. We're gonna talk about one of our most famous sharks around here, and her name is Curly. Curly has a curled tip of her dorsal fin.
And this is Curly right here?
Yeah, so that's a real picture of Curly. She was seen back in 2010 when she was feeding on a whale carcass.
Right here.
And here's some real footage of her that was taken of her at the time.
This is from a film called Jaws Comes Home on Shark Week, where Greg Scommel, the world famous great white shark researcher up here in Cape Cod, was in a cage, and basically Curly came up, was feeding on the whale carcass, and then took a lot of interest in the cage and like started getting entangled in the ropes and the floats. And Greg, there's Curly on top of the cage. Look at the size of her belly. And Greg is famous for getting really excited. White shark, white shark. Now everybody loves him on Shark Week, and obviously everybody loves Curly, right?
Yeah, she's really important to us due to her size. So this is a true to size model of what Curly looks like. She's about 18 feet long. She is still to date the largest white shark we've seen and tagged in our waters here.
Have you seen her in a while? Has she pinged? Has she been around?
So she actually hasn't been seen since 2010. People always ask if we think she's still around. It's definitely possible, but we just haven't seen her since.
And most people spend a lot of time, if they want to see great white sharks, inside of cages. And I've been lucky to film great white sharks in 24 locations around the world. And in a lot of those locations, I've been lucky enough to get outside of the cage. It's always based on visibility and the temperament of the sharks, if they are being polite that day. And for the most part, they are. Most sharks that I've met in my life are way more polite than humans. I'm way more afraid of the human species to try to kill me than one of these guys, a great white. But you know, this is pretty cool. If I ever end up behind bars, I prefer it shark cages and not the other kind of bars. Anyway, what do we got here? Look at this guy.
You're gonna meet somebody famous. So this is Bruce. You guys probably heard of him before. He's in a famous movie called Jaws. So we have a model of Bruce here. If you look at Bruce and then back up at Curly we were just talking about, you can see that there is a major difference between the size of their head. So you'll see that Bruce is a bit bigger. So that is why we have Bruce here, is to showcase how oftentimes these animals are misrepresented.
Yeah, they always say if it bleeds, it leads, like in the news. Yeah, I work in media, Shark Week, National Geographic, Shark Fest, the whole thing. And one thing I'm always struggling with is often how these sharks are depicted. Like, look at this thing, it's massive, it's big, it's scary. But the bigger the shark, the bigger the ratings. And Jaws certainly was a massive box office hit.
Yeah, so that's why we got Bruce here, to kind of showcase how much they exaggerated that size. So not only do we have Bruce to show that in video media, but we also have the display over here talking about how the language used also add to that misinformation.
The perfect example. Shark season officially underway as 3 great whites are tagged off of Cape Cod. Or Great white shark devours seal, turns water bloody off a Massachusetts beach. So this is Shark Week, and this is reality, okay? I mean, I might get kicked out of Shark Week for this, but let's be real here. It's a double-edged sword, you know? Shark Week started back in the 80s. A lot of people started to get interested in sharks, not because of that specifically, but because of Jaws, obviously. Everyone on the planet became immediately afraid of sharks. They didn't want to go in their bathtubs, in their swimming pools, because Spielberg and Benchley, I met Peter Benchley, and before he died, he tried to rectify his book Jaws to try to teach the world, like, listen, that was fiction. I was telling a story. Spielberg then capitalized it by making Jaws, and then Shark Week came along. But the way I kind of look at it is, over the years, it's created a cult following of people that love sharks. It's not really people that are watching Shark Week that hate sharks and want to go out and murder them. At the same time, you never want to portray an animal in completely inaccurate light. But Shark Week's created a huge momentum for sharks to the point where if people are seen killing sharks, abusing them, mutilating them, just torturing them, there's a huge public outrage and outcry now. It's a double-edged sword. It does good and bad, but I strongly believe it does more good than bad. But the media definitely can tighten up some of their lingo to keep it real.
Over here this way, this starts talking about our tagging part of our research program. Here at the Conservancy, we use about 3 different types of tags. Starting off, we have a camera tag. So this one, of course, it has a camera in it. We're able to film the movements and behaviors, what the shark's doing.
This is my favorite kind of tag, guys. This is, I believe it, a CATS camera, customized animal tracking system. And basically, it's a remote camera that attaches to the shark, and you get to see the secret life of the shark. A lot of what they do is pretty boring. They swim around, they're surviving, they're patrolling. Occasionally, they predate on things. One of the coolest things I've seen out of this camera specifically, I could be wrong, I saw a white shark here on the Cape, cruising around the sandbanks, and then it just sort of settled in and relaxed there, just kind of chilling out. And most people think that white sharks have to constantly force water over their gills to survive, but there's a thing called buccal pumping where you can actually use your gills kind of like a pump. They're capable of still circulating oxygen while they're sitting there. And this, to me, it was really cool seeing a white shark sit on the bottom. I could be completely wrong. I need to really rewatch the film, but these are my favorites. Sorry, I get excited about that.
We also have acoustic tags. So this is one of our most common ones we use because they're the most long-term tag we have. These ones can last upwards of 10 years. So whenever a shark that has one of these tags swims within 500 meters of a acoustic receiver, it'll ping a sound signal to it so that we know that animal is near that location.
I have a research project in Florida off the coast of Naples. These same tags that Greg deploys here on the great whites in Cape Cod, I'm detecting Greg's great white sharks off the coast of Florida on the receivers I have in the Gulf of Mexico. Incredible. You get amazing data from these things. What about this guy?
This is one of our satellite tags. Specifically, this one is a spot tag. They have these antennae. This will signal to the satellite orbiting Earth, so we're able to get the location data from it. There's a few other types of satellite tags. They can measure other parameters like temperature and light penetration levels and things like that. One of these spot tags we had on a white shark named Livef, which was tracked as far north as off the coast of Nova Scotia and as far south as into the Gulf. So you get a really great year-long picture of what the shark's doing.
And this looks like some real-time footage of the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy. Check it out. Looks like Greg's right about to deploy the tag here. That takes some serious skill, right? To be able to tag a white shark from a moving pulpit and right at the base of the dorsal, that is incredible. And I love how they can build a dive profile of what the shark's doing, how it's hunting. Oh, that is so cool. You got the coolest job ever. This is awesome. I love it.
Do you want to measure yourself?
Hey, look at this, man. Great white shark pup. Average length, 5 feet. So I'm just about 5'7" on a good day. I'm barely taller than a baby great white shark. Not even close to a juvenile. And then you got sharks like Curly. Like, what was Curly's?
18 feet.
18-foot great white shark. From my experience, often the bigger the shark, the more confident, the more mature, the less dangerous, at least when making films and getting out of the cage or anything like that. I find that the smaller the shark, the less mature, less experienced, the more they're want to check you out and potentially want to investigate you, which can, get sketchy. What do we have here?
This is a map of an example of somewhere our receivers are stationed here off the Cape. So we were just talking about our acoustic tags. Those ping to an acoustic receiver, which actually look like this. This is the buoy of the receiver, but the receiver itself is this black canister that gets attached to this buoy and stationed all around our coastline.
I use these same ones down in Florida. I remember going out with Greg once and him pulling this out of the waters in the Cape, and the whole thing was just covered in algae and growth and barnacles, and he was like scraping the receiver just to get the Bluetooth module, the magnet in to pull the data. I mean, it's so cool. People like dream of working with white sharks and studying them and being part of research. What is this?
So this is a touchscreen looking at shark anatomy. So you touch it and you can actually rotate the shark around
No way.
and look at the different body parts.
Dude, look at this, man. Okay, all right, let's settle down. This is so cool.
So looking from the skin layer to the muscle layer, as well as the skeletal layer. You'll also see that there's these gold dots. If you press those, it'll give you some more information about that shark body part and what it does for the shark.
This is amazing. So every one of these things you touch and it gives you details on the caudal fin. Close that up. Well, these probably lateral lines here, or the mouth. I must have hit the wrong button there. How was the mouth? Let's see, we got the belly, or what is that? The pec fins. This is so cool. Look at the little tail wiggling around the tail. Let's go to the muscle. This is so cool. I mean, I could play with this thing all day, man.
So here at the Conservancy, we mostly focus on white sharks, but there's a lot of other cool species around. So each of these cubes represents one of them. So on one side, you'll see a photo of the animal. So this is a common fresher shark. You can also see conservation status, as well as you'll see a fact sheet on one side, and then a photo of the shark's dorsal, and then a map of the animal's range. And so you can kind of keep spinning these and see all these other shark species around.
You know, just recently on the news, I saw some guys caught a tiger off of Nantucket or something, which obviously you guys already knew they were up here, and I know that they kind of have pretty wide range, but it seems like sharks are kind of showing up in different places where they're not as common in previous years, whether it's climate change or they just get bored where they're at and they want to check out a new spot. But that's so cool. I would imagine being a kid and coming in here to be able to like see all this data and all this visual like stimulus.
Over here is our interactive sand table exhibit. So we got sand in here that you can move around and touch. And as you move the sand around, you'll see that these lines and the colors will change. So that's because this is displaying a topography-based map on the table. So looking at differences in elevation. You got your sharks and some seals shown here. As you increase the sand level, you'll see it starts turning more of a red color and the lines get closer together. So those are shallower areas in the water, like sandbars essentially. Then you'll see.
Ooh, what's that? What's that?
So all those red circles that just appeared were representing a predation occurred. So showing that a shark caught a seal for food. What happens, just like in real life, our seals, they're doing it right now, they'll do what's called hauling out, where they'll go on those sandbars to rest or the thermoregulate. But of course, they gotta eat fish. So they go back in the water, they'll look for food. But the sharks are often patrolling those deep troughs right off the sandbar to their advantage to hunt their food source, the seals themselves.
That's so cool. And here in the Cape, you see like from the sky, these sandbars are constantly shifting with the weather, right? So
Yeah.
the sharks are constantly shifting their hunting. I've never seen a display like this where it's like interactive, where you can actually touch it, play with it. You have predation events, you got predator and prey interaction, and you can play with it at the same time. I mean, that is super cool.
And then over here starts talking about the human impact on our ecosystem around here. And that is the topic of marine pollution. Any of these objects here, they don't belong out there, and they can be really harmful for our animals and our ecosystem as a whole. You can see there's a photo up there where there's a seal entangled in some ghost gear, discarded fishing gear, or we have a sea turtle over this way about to eat a plastic water bottle. Looks a lot like jellyfish that they normally eat. So all these things can be really harmful, make them sick, injured, or even lead to fatalities. And we don't want this to happen because they'll keep leading to this issue where we start talking about the IUCN listing process of animal populations. How animals go from being least concern, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, eventually even extinct where they're no longer seen anymore. But we don't want this to happen because, as mentioned, each animal has a place in our ecosystem.
And what do we have here?
This is our How to Be Shark Smart graphic. So this has all the tips and tricks of how to best coexist with these animals off our coastline. As well as it has a little QR code about our Sharktivity app where you can actually see shark alerts, observations, reports of sharks in this area.
Guys,
Some of their tags pinged to it too.
the Sharktivity app. I've known about it for a long time and I finally just subscribed to it. And since I've signed up for it, literally my phone has not stopped. Every like 10 minutes, it'll give data updates on a shark sighting, on a real-time detection, field updates. It's incredible, guys. Check it out. If you're into great white sharks, you're into Cape Cod, you're into anything, and you want to learn more about the real-time activity of these sharks, what they're picking up on the receivers, and all the activity up here, you gotta check it out. And you gotta come to this research center here too, because it's incredible. Look at all this cool stuff. They got sweatshirts. I actually just got one of these earlier. My wife stole it off me already, so I don't have it anymore. But guys, seriously, this is a nonprofit. They do incredible work here. They're educating people. They're supporting conservation research. They've got amazing staff. Guys, thank you so much for the tour.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate it. You can't be back there in the shadows. Where can they find out more info? I know you got websites and Instagram and everything.
Yeah, AtlanticWhiteShark.org. There's all kinds of information on there. You can follow us on social media. We actually plug it right here.
Sure.
And yeah, follow us. You can download the Sharktivity app.
And if you have the means to, you can donate to support the nonprofit. It's a 501c3. It's tax deductible. You can even come out here and go on tours with them out on the ocean to see great white sharks in real life. And I know a lot of people, it's their biggest dream to see great white sharks with their own eyes. So check it out, buy the merch, support their research. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace, love, and sharks.